Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm with one of my lovely clients, Hannah. So I'm trying to even think how long you've been with me actually. Since November, December.
November, yeah.
November. So that is nearly a year, not even that far off. So Hannah's been with me for a really long time, achieved amazing results. So today we're going to dive into her story, talk to her about like what she's learned over the time, and then obviously she can just share her experience with the coaching with you. So Hannah, thank you so much for joining me today. So the first question I always jump in with is kind of what led you to coaching, like with me in the first place, and what's like your background fitness wise?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a really good question because I've always done kind of like some sort of fitness in the morning, but and I've always been really kind of like on it with my nutrition, like what I eat. But I was noticing that I wasn't getting any results. So I wanted to kind of tone up more. And I just felt like I was might kind of, especially around the tummy area, because that is just like the most difficult place in the world to try and tone up. It's like, please just do something.
Please.
And I just felt really like it was really soft and I wasn't seeing any results. And, you kind of look online and you read so many different things. In the end, your head is spinning. You're like, do I intermittent fast? Do I not? Do I keto? Do I that? Do I? And it just
Yeah.
a point where I thought, no, I just need to speak to someone and to understand, what I need to do to kind of find out what works for me. And I saw all your fantastic videos on like Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. I
Oh,
really love
thank you.
her. Kind of instantly gelled with you on from your Instagram videos. Then joined your what was then Pink Dragon and
Yeah.
is now Hooked.
Yeah.
Saw the coaching program just before Christmas, and I thought, right, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I did it, really, just to kind of to actually debust those myths, to actually just get to the actual source of the truth, and to do something that worked for me, but guided by someone who had the expertise and knowledge.
Yeah. And do you know what? You're so right. There is so much information. I was actually having a conversation with another client the other day saying the amount of like trends you see online is insane. And even nowadays, so with social media, you'll see that someone's doing something and you're like, oh, well, I'll give that a go. And then it doesn't work. And you're like, maybe I should combine it with this diet. And then there is way too much. Everyone is overcomplicated health and fitness, like so much. And it's really annoying for a lot of sense. So I'm really glad that the coach did help you in obviously that retrospect. And talking of trends, like what did you try before you came to the coaching program? Like what things did you do?
Oh my God, I was like Pilates, yoga. The one thing I never did, and I realized that I had to do it in order to kind of like get rid of the softness, was the like HIIT workouts. So
Yeah.
because like I hate cardio, like running to me is like no offense to runners, but
Oh no,
running is
I feel it. It's so boring.
I wouldn't even run if I was late to catch a bus. I'd be like, no, I'll get a taxi. I just don't, I'm not a cardio person. I used to, when I was at university, do spinning classes.
Yeah, but that's kind of fun though, because it's like music and vibe, you know?
And there
Yeah.
were the lights going, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're like, yeah, I'm in a club.
exercise. So I was never really a fan of cardio, and I always felt like anything to do with like hit training or Tabata, I was like, no, it's cardio. I don't want to do it. And so I would just be doing toning exercises. So
Right. Yeah.
nothing, I wasn't seeing any differences because I wasn't trimming down, leaning down in order to then tone up. So
Right. That makes sense.
I was just doing the wrong things. And I had that kind of really, probably what everyone does really when they hear the word cardio, it's like,
Yeah. How long? How much?
yeah, 40 minutes. And that's another thing, like all of the, when you start looking at kind of like fitness programs or kind of like cardio stuff, it always seems to be like 30 to 40 minutes. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want 40 minutes.
No, I don't. No one wants to. A, who's got the time for that? And B, like, I don't want to be running up and down. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some people that like doing that, but I think for most people that come in the coaching program or even come to my YouTube channel, they're there to just have something short and effective. Just get on with it.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's it. I just don't like, and so I was trying to find things that I could fit into my kind of, busy work schedule. So I had a morning and, I'll only have like maybe 40 minutes for exercise,
Yeah.
but I want that to be targeted and toned and then a stretch. So
Yes.
I don't want a 40-minute full on cardio blast workout.
No.
I'm like, you know, trying
Dying.
to throw up because it's just too much for me.
No, and I agree. I think like so many people have the same thing as well. Like I think we avoid things that we don't want to do, or we go the opposite route and we try everything. And then it's just you're confused with what actually works and what doesn't work, or you've just overstrained your body too much. That happens a lot of the time. And what about nutrition? Like, what stuff did you try before? Because I know, like, when we did first speak, you had tried you tried quite a few techniques.
Yeah, I did. So again, carbs get a very bad name. And when
Yes.
looking around at like what can I do that isn't going to be 40 minutes worth of cardio and I can't have carbs and I've also got to be in a constant calorie deficit. So I would always be very kind of like, right, I won't have carbs at lunchtime. I'll just have a salad. I'll have carbs at dinner.
Yeah.
Um, I'll have 3 meals a day. So I'd have like porridge in the morning, a salad, and then an evening meal.
Yeah.
And that's it. But everything would always be full of green leafy vegetables, always full of nutrition. But what I was finding is that by the time it got to dinner, I was absolutely Hank Marvin. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I could eat my hand. And so my body is then, and it's not until I kind of came to you actually, that what I realized is because I was almost starving myself, I was in a calorie deficit, starving myself. My metabolism had just literally
Like,
slowed
yeah.
nothing. And because I was then eating carbs in the evening, my body was storing all the carbs as fat, hence
Yeah.
having a soft tummy. And when we started your coaching program, you say no to carbs in the evening, carbs definitely in the morning, carbs
Yes.
definitely at lunchtime, but nothing in the evening. And you know what? Within a week, I
Yeah. You saw such a difference. Yeah, I remember that you even said to me like quite a lot of your cravings and those hunger cues had really died down for you, like massively. And I think even when we did start to introduce carbs for you, you tried it and you still said that for you it didn't work as well, which as we've said before, certain things work for different people, but you're definitely one of those people that carbs at night is just not something you enjoy now.
no, absolutely not. And I always knew what kind of what good carbs were.
Yeah,
So, but I was having the good carbs in the evening, and as I said, my body was just not reacting to it very well. And I've kept off the carbs in the evening. I
yeah,
always have like my morning protein shake. I always put porridge oats, gluten-free porridge oats in it. I have, I eat more now as well.
yeah, yeah, you
Like
do.
boiled egg for a snack, or like a one of those skinny pork sausages, or protein. I've got these protein yogurts, and then I'll have lunch. And my lunch, like my mum was even saying to me a couple of months ago, she was like, God, it looks like you've got a dinner. And
My mum says that to me all the time. She's like, "Where do you store it?" I'm like, "I'm hungry."
I'm like, it's chicken, green vegetables, and half a cup of like wild rice.
Yeah,
It's
it's some of that. It's normal.
Yeah, and it keeps me safe. Like the protein satiates you. It keeps you.
Yeah.
Then I have, if I fancy it, I have another snack in the afternoon, depending on like how I'm feeling. And then do you know what I absolutely love? Just a protein, vegetable packed dinner, and
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect for me. And so
yeah,
it was I was eating the right things, but at the wrong times, and I wasn't eating enough of the right things at the right times.
yeah. And I'm so glad though for you that we've figured that out for you on that journey. And the good thing is we figured that out pretty early on.
Yeah, that was
For
nice,
you.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like literally within like a week we figured that out, which was wild. And then you started to see like insane results because that's the thing. Like when you actually came to me, the goal was to lean out and focus on the stomach and obviously we easily achieved that in the 6 weeks. Like, how did you feel once you had hit that mark already in 6 weeks?
I was just over the moon because I felt like I'd actually achieved something.
Yeah,
I felt um so happy that I had your support and guidance along the way to kind of, help me understand. But at the end of it, I just felt informed. I was like, I now understand. I can now actually go forward. And what I've built as a kind of nutritional habit and workout habit, it's not it's not hard work. It's not what you would call, oh, I have to do this, like regimented. It's actually enjoyable. Like
yeah,
yeah, but I'm informed. And so when I kind of came to the end of the 6 week program, I could see abs. I was like, I can
I've
see,
got
and like my legs looked leaner, like my back was leaner, everything kind of just was in more proportion. And
yeah.
I felt better about myself. I didn't feel like bloated or sluggish. So yeah, I felt like I was ecstatic, really.
Yeah, and I was really proud of you as well, like, because it's not easy, especially joining a new program and changing your eating habits and getting like a new routine. Like you said, for someone that doesn't like cardio, you were like doing HIIT workouts. So for you to do that in 6 weeks and achieve such great results was really, really good. Like, I was so proud of you. And what's your relationship like now with your body as well? Because I know obviously as we as women, we always have hang-ups about our bodies. That's just normal. What's it like now for you?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because I kind of came to you from a very, very bad place with my body. So, um, I went. So I went to the doctors ages ago, like months and months ago, and I was just like, I feel so depressed, blah blah blah, about my body, and they were like, it's highly likely that you have body dysmorphia, because I was also like like not eating a lot.
Yeah.
My husband was like really kind of concerned. He was like, well, you're hardly eating anything, and I'm like, well, if I eat I get fat. And so I
Yeah.
had this really negative mindset, and then then I'd like look at myself in the mirror and just like hate what I saw and just be in tears. So I went to like an eating matters clinic as well, and they were talking about the importance of kind of eating. So, you know, I was then trying to retrain my brain to go, no, you must eat, and it's fine to eat.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of got to a point where, as I said, before I started the coaching program in November, I was like, right, do you know what? The only person who's going to be able to change this is me. And I need to
Absolutely.
do this with someone who actually understands the importance of mindfulness, exercise, and nutrition. And so yeah, so when I came to you, I think I even sent, because you said, "Oh, can I have like your first day one photo?" And I said, "This is
Yes.
a disgusting body." I remember
Yeah. You said
saying
that.
it, and I was just so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh my God, Holly's going to look at it and go, ugh, you're not allowed to join my coaching
Oh
group."
my God, no. No.
So yeah, I was very, very kind of like down, and I was almost like self-sabotaging myself as well, because I was so negative about what I saw. It I wasn't then enjoying any
Yeah.
kind of, even there was any results. And I think for the first couple of weeks even, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And it's not until I kind of started looking at the photos side by side, I was
Yeah.
like, oh
Wow.
my God.
Yeah. Because I do remember actually at one point you said to me, which I think was really good of you, you stopped looking in the mirror at one point. You were like, I'm not going to look at the mirror. And I was like, that's a really great thing to do. Let's avoid that. And I think, yeah, by like week 3 or 4, we started to do the photo comparisons. And then, like you said, then you realized you were like, no, actually, I'm doing amazing. You were eating more, you were following through with the exercises. And I think just overall, your mindset really did improve because did you do the mindset training as well that we gave you? Did that help?
Yeah, it did, because it's really important to kind of drill down into what it is. What is that one negative thing that overrides everything? Because, you can always say to yourself, I'm not good enough, or no one likes me, or I'm this, I'm that. there's loads of things, but actually, what is the one thing that when you get to it, the bottom of it, causes all of those other
Things.
disbelief?
Yeah.
That was really helpful. And I think also, just because I always compare myself to other people. I'm like, oh, I'm not as good as them, or I'm not as good as this. And it comes down to a kind of, fundamental lack of kind of self-worth in myself. And
Yes.
so when I was able to identify that, I was like, stop looking on these fitness, like at these fitness
Yes. Stop.
people and going, oh my God, they've got a six pack. Why haven't I? Or, oh my God, that person had results by just doing stomach vacuuming in 3 days and they've lost 6,000 pounds. And I'm like, and I would always compare myself, like, I want to look like that person. Whereas,
Yes.
so then when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't see me. I could only see what I wasn't, like
Yes.
comparing myself. And so in the end, it got to a point where I was like, no, do you know what? And like, I'd get up and, we always feel bloated as women.
Oh yeah, always, especially in
One
cycles.
one of the things that we have to like deal with. And I'd go, no, don't you look in the side, don't look side on in the mirror. No,
Yeah.
you
No.
know you're bloated. You know that your tummy is going to be bloated. Just don't look.
Yeah.
On with it.
But how
Um,
good that you got to that point though.
yeah, it took a long time because, as you said, it's and that's what I loved about your mindfulness and mindset training is we have conditioned ourselves so long to believe something that's not true that when you start trying to unpick it,
Yeah.
it's like
It's like
you're
a layer
really,
cake. You're like,
I'd rather do burpees and I hate burpees.
I know. That's the thing is that I always say this to clients, even when they join, and I would have said it to you, like, everyone always just wants to focus on the fitness and the nutrition side of things. And of course they are so important. But if I can't help you in the mindset department, that's where things are going to slip up when you even finish the program and go off on your own, because mindset is what really helps us build up habits, routines, motivation, and like you said, confidence, like making ourselves feel good, like self-worth. All of those things come from us, and it's not something that you can be taught by someone. Like, I can give you the tools and stuff, but initially you have to do the work for it. And you did all the work for it, and you really achieved so much and like got over so many things that you had before.
Yeah, and that's all thanks to you, Holly. It's as you said, you can get, whilst you're giving me the tools, you're also there supporting me, guiding me. You become more than just a coach, you become
Oh
a
yeah.
friend. So it's kind of, and also, talking to someone who knows the struggles as well and who understands it, rather than talking to, like you see all of these kind of like trainers online and fitness advisors, and it's like, what is your personal story? Like,
Yeah.
because if I can't engage with you personally, it's then more difficult. It would have been more difficult for me to like take on board the skills that you gave around mindfulness.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, you don't understand.
Well, yeah, it's true. Like, like, I always say this to people, like, even when you pick a trainer, like, you need to pick a trainer. Like, say if you were going to the gym, for example, you need to be able to relate to that person. Have they gone through the journey that you're trying to go through? If not, why would you go with them? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because
same thing.
you're just in the back of your head, like, well, it's easy for you, isn't it? Because you've got a metabolism the speed of a cheetah. For
Yeah.
me,
It's difficult for me, and
slog.
you're not understanding what I'm going through. No, you do. You always need to be able to connect with someone for sure. And I think that was good as well, because you've been in hooked and you'd gone through the mindset stuff that I'd already taught in there. So you knew it was an option as well, which I'm really glad that you knew that that's what I offered. Because as I said, like, I think online probably I speak about more the nutrition and the fitness side of things. But yeah, like, mindset is so important. So important.
And yeah, you end up self-destroying and self-destructing and self-sabotaging because if you don't have the right mindset and let's say you follow the nutrition, you follow the workouts, and you still don't have that kind of mindset where you're like, no, I am worthy. Results don't happen overnight. But do you know what? You're working towards that goal. If you don't have that mentality, then you'll get to the weekend and go, oh, do you know what? I can't be.
Sure.
What's the point? What's the point?
Yeah.
I'm just going to eat KFC and another donut and a 5,000 donuts. And do you know what? Sod it. You know,
Yeah.
I can't be bothered anymore. And you stop.
Yeah.
But also, what's really great about the training is, you know, yeah, nutrition is important, but you can have a Chinese.
Oh
You
my
can
God, yes.
have a pizza. You can have
Yes.
any takeaway that you want. It's fine.
Yeah. But again, having the mindset to be like, it's totally fine to have this. Because I think people are always shocked by that. Because I'm like, they're like, oh, you know, I have this like work of it. I'm like, yeah, cool, go for it. Like, just go and enjoy it. They're like, really? I'm like, yes, really. Like, I'm never going to tell someone that they cannot go and enjoy something. Like, how are you going to learn and understand that nutrition is about balance if you're not practicing it? You have to practice it. You have to learn like what your body needs and how to fuel it while still enjoying the small things in life. Like, if someone told me I couldn't go have a slice of cake or something or chocolate, I'd be like, you're having an absolute laugh. Like, no, like I need my balance in my life. Like, no. So even now while I'm pregnant, I'm still having it. You have to.
Exactly. You know, a glass of wine is not going to destroy everything. A
No.
Chinese takeaway or fish and chips or a kebab or a pizza is not going to destroy anything.
No.
Because how, you know, and again, it's how the program is structured, and how you've structured it is that your metabolism is consistently working. And so it is at such a kind of like efficient mode that it means that when you do want to have something like extravagant, your body's like,
Cool, eat it.
go on, I've just burned that off for you.
Yeah. Like, don't even worry about it, hun. You enjoy it. That's what, but that's what it's about, though, you know. And that's what I want, because that's what actually brings me on to my next question. I'll say to you, like, we've just stopped working together, and for me, I think I'm really glad that you've reached this point of this flexibility. And you're right. You've been doing this now for a while, this flexibility and that. And like, even now, how is that going for you? Having the flexibility while still exercising and still seeing results, because you're like maintaining essentially now.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think that because because I've kind of worked the nutrition where it's kind of like properly balanced. I'm getting every nutrient that I need my body to. Interestingly, what I did notice as well is when we started your coaching program, I was always like, I told you my addiction was peas. I
Oh my
love
God, yeah, I'm like, you love peace.
my God, I had an addiction for peas, and I would always be putting kind of like carrots or parsnips in kind of like
Yeah.
a bolognese. And when we stopped the carrots and parsnips and peas, just for kind of like, because they're quite high in carbs,
Yeah.
again, I noticed that kind of for me, my body, with regards to kind of is it the high glycemic index?
Yeah, yeah.
So things like parsnips, carrots, and peas, for me, my body just wasn't able to kind
Break
of,
it down and yeah.
and I always used to crave like peas and carrots, and I suppose because of the sugar as well.
Yeah.
Now, you know, now I've got the flexibility. I'm just like, no, I don't really. I've actually peas are no longer my secret crave food.
Do you know what's weird though? It's so funny that all clients, when they go through the first 6 weeks, are always like, when can we start introducing food? I'm like, don't worry, it's coming, it's coming. When it comes, it's so funny because I'll say to them, okay, you can add in like what you want now. And it's actually hilarious to watch what people add in, because you would assume it would be like for you, the peas or carrots or like chocolate or something. No, people add in some weird stuff that they want again. And like one client was like, oh, I just want hummus. I was like, what? Just hummus. She was like, yeah, I just want hummus. Another one was like, I just want to be able to eat more cheese. And I was like, this is like the funniest thing, because most people, when they start, expected it to be the bad food, but they don't crave it anymore. And I'm like, see, it's just changing taste buds and habits.
Yeah. And I think, do you know, the first few, when you talk about flexibility, for the first few weeks, I was really scared. Like,
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah, everyone is. But you're going to make mistakes to begin. You're going to.
but do you know what? After a while, it's like, no, it's fine. And it's the best time actually to take up your coaching program is over Christmas and New Year, because
Yeah.
then really you have to, you're kind of following the coaching program, but also being flexible at the same time because it is Christmas.
Obviously, yeah. Especially I'd say like November time, like when you joined, everyone starts like Halloween, parties, Guy Fawkes night, Christmas stuff coming up. Like there's always something from like November or no, October really onwards because it's
Yeah.
Halloween.
And that was really good because it was, you had to get, because it was at the time of year, that flexibility had to happen quite quickly because you had to be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm still going to have my Christmas dinner.
Yeah. And my Christmas pudding.
I'm going to be fine about it. Yeah. And so, yeah, flexibility now, I enjoy like a weekend where I'm like, oh, do you know what? And I do, for kind of like my kind of flexibility treat, I would have like a kebab set, let's say,
Yeah,
and that is
yeah.
in the evening. But because I'm not having it, I'm not doing that continuously, I'm not focused too much on a carb focused diet in the evening, my body is able to kind of
Process it. Yeah, that's
process it
true.
better. I still get bloating, and I'm like, well, that's fine because, I accept the fact that that would have
That's
been
just it. Yeah.
but hey ho, I'm fine with that, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah,
Tomorrow's a new day, moving on.
yeah, exactly. Let's just pop a couple of like anti-bloating tablets, drink
Drink my
water.
tea. Yeah, drink my dandelion
Exactly.
tea.
Dandelion tea. Oh my God. I have absolutely come to love dandelion tea. It's my
It's so
go.
good. I remember I loved it before I got pregnant with Eva. And it was, I remember when I couldn't drink it anymore. It was actually for the taste. I got so used to the taste.
Mm.
And then I think when I started again, once I stopped breastfeeding and stuff, you then realise you're like, oh my God, it makes you wee all the time. You forget.
Yes. Oh my God, that is so funny because I was like, oh my God, I've got like a really weak bladder. And it wasn't
No,
until
it's not.
I connected the dots. I was like, oh, of course, because
It's
it's
too,
tension.
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, you silly girl. Of course you're going to be weeing more.
Yeah, I always say it to clients because I had a client the other day actually. She had a really crazy flight, bless her, from South America and all the way to Europe. But like her flights was, I think she had like 2 different connecting flights. And she was like, "I'm really swollen. I don't know what to do." I was like, "Dandelion tea it." And she was like, "What's that?" And then she went and got it. And she was like, "Oh wow!" So I always say, don't use it all the time. But obviously, if you're like during your period, if you're like really holding on to a lot of water retention, flights, anything like that, definitely use it in those circumstances because it's like the miracle herbal tea leaves.
Do you know
So
what
good.
you raised a really good point actually that I want to kind of is also kind of rah you on is the fact that because you understand like with the menstrual cycles and our bodies do change. I hadn't really kind of I knew that your body changes during your menstrual cycle, but I hadn't really kind of thought about it any further. And
Yeah,
so when I was doing the coaching program with you, feeling like, oh, my body's like rubbish. And then you kind of saying, well,
it's
we're
weird.
on a cycle. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And now we know, okay,
Yeah,
like I'd say 5 days before my period starts, yeah, I take on much more water. So it's like, right, dandelion tea, ginger, all of that sort of stuff.
yeah,
When I'm the first 3 days, I'm like, nope. And
yeah.
then all of a sudden they kind of come down. But then I also realized that during ovulation as well, again, so
Yeah.
this is rubbish. I've got like maybe like 10 days out of
Yeah,
it.
feeling amazing at the month. No, but that's so true. Like, funny enough, I was literally having this conversation with my sister yesterday. Her and I were saying this. She was like, "Oh, when you do coach the women, do that?" And I said, "Yeah, because what they do is when they're in this, I tell them, and then they notice. And especially when you stay on and you do the tracking, you become so aware of your cycle. Because I think in our heads, maybe before you're semi-aware of it." But I think until someone's physically saying to you, like, hey, like, your period's coming, you're going to gain retention, you're going to have less energy, like, slow it down, do this. And then you're like, oh, okay, like I can not exercise, or I'll just do a stretch. It's okay. And I've gained weight, but it's water. I think when you have someone saying it to you, you're like, it's almost like confirmation to you. And you're like, okay, that's fine. It's going to go in like 5 days. And then it does.
Yeah, I would put on at least, 2.5, sometimes 3 centimeters,
Yeah.
and, 2.5 centimeters a week before I was due. And then the first 3 days when I'm just in absolute agony, it's like 3 or 4 centimeters. But the only reason we had to do that because of the kind of like the tracking,
Tracking. Yeah.
that also kind of opened up my eyes to be like, it's fine. You know that it's not because you've eaten more, or
No.
that is how your
It's your
body
body.
is reacting to the stress and the strain that it's under.
Yeah.
And it was really, yeah, as you said, it was really kind of good to kind of have that confirmation of it will, and it's fine not to exercise.
Yes.
If you want to just do a stretch, that's fine, because otherwise you are kind of, and as you always say, if you're feeling poorly, if you're not, if you're not feeling well, you're under the weather, you're in pain or whatever, the last thing you should be doing is forcing yourself to do something that you're not going to be able to kind of enjoy,
Yeah.
or kind of at the end of it feel, wow, well done me, feel
Yeah.
kind of attitude towards it, because you'll just be like, oh,
Yeah. You're still tired. I feel shit still. Like, no.
you're like lying on the floor, like,
Yeah, like, why did I do that to myself? It's just like, there's no point. That's what I always say to clients. I think if you are in that, because everyone is different, of course, like some women in their cycles can still exercise. But I always say to clients, listen to how you're feeling. And if you feel like you can do something, but you don't want to go crazy, just do one of the toning exercises then. And as you know, we're so flexible with the workout schedule anyway. Just because I give you something doesn't mean you have to stick to it. Like, move it. Move it around, do it how it suits you. It doesn't matter. As long as you do the workouts in the week, I don't care what day it is. Like, move things around you. That's what life's about.
and that was really great. That was really great as well, kind of having that flexibility, because, with my busy schedule during kind of like Monday to Friday, the last thing I want to be doing on a Saturday morning, because when you're not setting your alarm either, the last thing I
No.
want to do, wake up on a Saturday and a Sunday, is go, oh yeah, let's do some like
Hit
cardio.
workout. Woo.
Woo, can't wait. Whereas kind of like it's become my kind of mindful habit during the week. And important as well, like you only have to do 4 workouts and
Yeah.
have a rest day. Lovely. So my Wednesday is my rest day.
Nice.
It's like,
Yeah.
I love this. And then I kind of do my Friday at the end of the week, so you're happy anyway.
Yeah.
And so that workout you do push yourself a bit more, because you're like, yeah, now
Yeah.
you enjoy the weekend.
Yeah. And then you're like, now it's the weekend. It's chill vibes, good food,
Yeah,
flexibility.
stretching. Yeah, and I've been doing a lot more stretching as well, because I hadn't
It's
really
good.
realized the benefits of making sure that you're stretching your muscles out, because when you're doing some of the workouts, you're like, oh my god, I
Yeah.
can't.
My bum's done.
I think that when I realized I was really unflexible is when we were doing fire hydrants, and you're like, don't
Oh,
make sure you don't tilt your hips.
that's
And
hard though. That's
And I
really hard.
realised I was able to like lift my leg like that high without tilting my hips. And I was like, my goodness, I need to do some real stretches.
Exactly. That's always a tough one though. I always say that exercise because I think I only really learnt about it when I was pregnant, weirdly enough. And because I was taught, don't move your hips. And you're like, well, why can't my leg go up that high? Like, I'm confused. And it's because we've just been taught to just like lift it up and not worry. But in fact, it's wrong.
Yeah, and do you know what? You end up feeling, and you're kind of what you teach them with regards to kind of like focusing on the muscles. My God, all of a sudden you're like, you can feel your abdomen like
Yeah.
really engaging, and your bum, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I can't lift it up any higher because
Yeah, like that's all I need to. That's the thing. Even just small movements make the biggest impact on your body. And that's why, again, like it's important to follow cues and listen and stretch. Like you said, you can do those things. You're going to see great results like you did. And that's what it's about, seeing the results. And then if you had to sum up the coaching program in a sentence, what would you say? What would your sentence be?
Oh God.
I know this one's a hard one.
Um, Sum it up. Sum it up. I suppose like the coaching program enables you to understand all the three components to really achieve kind of your success and goals in life through mindfulness, nutrition, and workouts.
Yeah. 3 pillars.
The three
The
pillars. Yeah.
The 3 successful pillars.
I think just if I was to say in a couple of words, it's you come. I suppose no. There you go. There's a sentence. Here's another sentence. I'm just
Here's
gonna
another one. 2 sentences.
it enables you to become more informed and make intelligent choices.
Yeah, and it does. And I think about your own body as well, which is the best thing. And would you recommend the program to anyone watching now, like on my YouTube channel? Would you be like, join?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think wherever you are in kind of your life, how you're feeling about your body, kind of like fitness value, fitness kind of, levels, whatever, if you've kind of got that feeling in the back of your head, like, am I doing this right? Or, what can I do more? Or I'm not feeling the results. Definitely take on the coaching program, because it's so important to understand whether what you're doing is right, or just to even kind of get someone to just provide that supportive pillar for you to say, you are doing fine.
Yeah.
I think everyone needs to really, I think if you've got a fitness goal or whatever it is, or you want to feel better about your body, my advice is always kind of bring on board a coach, because they're the ones that know they're the ones that have gone through it. They know what works, they know what doesn't work, but also they will work with you
Yes.
to ensure that your body kind of is able to kind of, it meets your body.
Work. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that is so important, that instead of just like you can, of course, you can trial and error and trial these things. But when you do come to someone who knows, at least then they're able to condense it and figure out for you what's actually going to work and give you the best results.
Yeah, and it's going to save you hours and hours scrolling through the internet and Facebook and Instagram and whatever, going, what do I need to do? Vacuum in? Intermittent fasting? Oh my God.
Yeah, like which one should I try? Then you try too much and then you're like, what actually worked or what's not working out of these things?
Yeah, exactly. If you
No.
want to actually get time back in your life, just get a coach.
Just get a coach and we'll figure it out for you in 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about. Well, Hannah, thank you so, so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And guys, I hope this has inspired you as well if you're watching. And of course, any questions, just put it in the comment below, or you can apply for the coaching program directly in the description box.